This is Martina Wing. I'm reaching out to you today, and I'm hoping that you have a couple minutes for the Manta race, and at the end also take action to help them, as public hearing is coming up next Thursday for the proposed draft rules that will hopefully be implemented really soon to help the manta race and the activity here on the Kona Coast. I want to dive into some history and what happened with the Kona Coast manta race in Hawaii on the Big Island. It started in 1991, and the first boat went out once a week, went down to Keaho. It's an incredible experience to see the manta race in a natural environment. It's a night swim, a night dive. If you see this video, you might have been with me on the tours. I'm in this for 25 years, so I have a lot of knowledge about what happened back then and the development. 2005, 6, 7, the industry was still doing well. Not too many people, not too many boats, but then it expanded. We came to the year of 2012, and then the Department of Land and Natural Resources, we're going to call them DLNR, and federal government, Coast Guard, they called everybody together. It was November 2012 and told us, hey, you as an industry, you're growing. This is a dangerous activity, taking people out into the ocean at night with boats, all kinds of things, propellers, skills of people, folks that guide the people. Everything has to be working really well so everybody stays safe. And particular for me also that the manta race stays safe in the environment. In 2012, it was pretty clear that the industry has grown to a place where officials stepped in and said, okay, stop right here. We need you to go and get together as a group and create voluntary guidelines. Actually, create guidelines. We will not impose any rules on you yet. If you can organize yourself. That what happened in 2013. I was involved in all these drafting of the rules. It went, I think, well. Many people in the industry were passionate to help and knowledgeable. There were a few people with a lot of years of being in the industry, and we came up with a really cool voluntary guidelines, a standard of operations for the industry. 2014 rolled around, and the legislator for Hawaii passed a resolution, and the resolution said, we know that the manta ray industry is growing. We know it needs to be regulated. We urge the DLNR to regulate them, and we know that there is a problem. A resolution was passed. That was actually a really big deal, that officials said, DLNR, do something. I remember the lady that came first from the DLNR, her name is Maria. She okay, how do we do this? I don't even know what the problem is. The manta rays are beautiful. You're doing a good job. She went on a trip to see it. The longer we talked, it was very clear that we need a lot of help. Create the draft package of rules and figure out how we can be safer for everybody involved. Draft rules were created. Draft 1, Draft 2, Draft 3, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 or 8, I don't even know. But remember, this was 2014, and now we have the year 2023. So 9-year span of what's next? What's next? Why are we not being regulated? What's happening? And so the process is that the DLNR created a draft rule package. This has to go to the board of the Department of Natural Resources. It's the BLNR, and they have to say, okay, we see the draft rules. You can go ahead and go through the motion of a public hearing. Then we review again, and then there's several steps. In between was also the Attorney General very involved. Of course, it's not just that you come up with draft rules. It has to work within the administrative rules. It's called Hawaii Administrative Rules, which governs the Department of Land and Natural Resources. This meeting with the BLNR was sometime last year. I believe it was in October. Then in November, another group was involved. It has to do with business and how business will be affected and how can they help. Went to the public hearing. The process was started and it's all going through the motion. Why now? After 8 years, what happened? And it's really sad news. While over the years, man rays have been injured many times. Last year, on April 4th, a crew member died because of a captain and, we believe, operator negligence. Teresa died, and of course, it was a horrible, horrible situation. But of course, that got the DLNR to start moving forward. That's why we have this public hearing now. And after 8 years, they're finally moving forward. It's 9 years actually now. What I'm looking for from you guys is that you help us moving these draft rules forward. Some people say they're not perfect. I think they're really good actually. There's a few things that need to be tweaked. Because of all these years waiting, there's actually a new site. Right now, only locations will be regulated, and there are 2 locations that are sometimes at night 20 boats, 300 people, and that's actually a regular number. It's not like a peak number on very busy nights. So think of it, you go out and you want to experience man rays, you go on a boat, you end up at the viewing site, Keaho, in front of the today's Outrigger Hotel, used to be the Sheraton Hotel. Or you go on a different operator. We have an astonishing more than 50 companies offering it. The number was floated of 70 operators, something in between. But you have so many choices as a guest to come here, and then you go on a boat and you end up maybe at the other side by the airport, and there are 20 boats, 25 boats. People come and go, the boats come and go, multiple sessions at night. It's really a crazy place. I recently talked to someone who applied for a job in the industry, and she was told, hey, you need to be ready for crazy. I'm all for being regulated, and I hope you can help me move this forward. You will find resources where the public hearing is announced. I will create links to that. You can testify or make your voice heard by just emailing a certain email address. Pretty simple. It's an email, so you can voice your opinion. I hope that you say yes and help the manta rays, that an industry that has been too big for too long, and help the manta rays to say yes, move forward. But I do want to give you a few more details on what will be regulated. If you've done the manta activity, it maybe makes sense to you. If you haven't done it, then skip that part. Suddenly I have glasses on, so it has to do with I have to read now. If that's any interest, I'm actually in Germany visiting my family. It's cold here in February, and I'm looking forward to go home to Hawaii. Let's move forward, and I'll tell you a little bit of what in the draft rules will be, what's coming, and I support pretty much everything. Couple of tweaks, and I think we are good to go to make this a safer environment for everybody involved. The campfire operation is in the draft rules. What that means, one viewing area. So if you go on a boat and you end up in Keaho, you end up with 5, 10, 20 boats at the same time. Boats are all over the place, and the idea is, and that has always been proven to be the best concept, so everybody can see the manta rays. There's one viewing area. Why is it called campfire? Because when divers come together, you put a light box in the middle. Then the divers sit around that light box. Looks like a campfire. They have lights in their hand. They shine them towards the surface. And then the snorkelers would be on top, shining their lights down. It's a concentrated area. It's the campfire method. It has worked many, many years before it got crazy. And I'm glad that draft rules demand the campfire, because everybody can work safer. It's so much more control over the situation versus everybody's moving around and putting the mantas into different places too. Everybody sees in one area what's going on. Campfire, I'm absolutely for that. What is not allowed anymore is rafting of boats. So think of it, you come to the site, now you would be maybe at the airport, there are mooring balls, and that means as a captain that brings the boat to the mooring, it's a subsurface buoy, it's tied to the bottom, and you would tie up your boat to that buoy, to that mooring. The boat is safe, you can turn the engines off and you can do your activity. We used to tie up a second boat to it, so 2 boats together. I've seen it also with 3 boats together, it's just going crazy. When the wind shifts, boat move around, all kinds of things can go wrong. I've seen that when the boats are tied together and the line is too low, maybe even sinks underwater, man rays have been entangled in that. It's just not a good thing. So yay for no more rafting. There will be enough mooring balls for the amount of permits. There will be a reduction of how many operators can be at these sites, and they have to be specific to each location. Keaho will be one location and the airport location, and these are the two locations of viewing mantas on the Kona Coast that are under these rules. They're also suggesting prop guard and no more hall lighting. That would be subsurface lights, hall lighting. So you have light within the hull of the boat, and that has caused many injuries to manta rays, because when you have the whole concept based on lights, bring plankton, manta rays are drawn to the light because there's the plankton, and then you turn on the engines and you run the propellers. I mean, just it's not a good concept for what we are trying to accomplish. Viewing mantas, keeping them alive, sending people into the world to take care of the animal. It's totally counterproductive to have hall lighting, because it injures the animals that we're making a living of and want to protect. I'm all for no more subsurface lights. I mentioned limits the number of permits and limit the time you can stay at the site to do the activity. You come to the site, you tie up, then there's 2 hours, and then you have to leave. And so then the next group can come in, and there has to be some kind of come and go. Will some people see the manta rays or not see the manta rays? Yes, that will happen, but that's already happening at this point anyways. No more lifeboating is in the draft rules as well. That ties into running propellers at the site. What we want is parking space for the boat, tying one boat up to that parking, it's the mooring ball, then do the activity. People are back on the boat after the activity, then you turn the engine on, then you turn the propeller on, you release the boat from the mooring, and you go your way. Versus lifeboating, people have driven around while manta rays are in the water. Of course, manta rays are in the water, people are in the water. Been many close calls where propellers were just too close to slice up people or animals. No more lifeboating. I'm all for that as well. Yes. That wraps it up, what I wanted to explain about the draft rules and the public hearing that's coming up. The little fine-tuning I'm looking for, and I will add to my testimony that I will send to that email address. You find the email in the descriptions. Right now, 2 locations on the Kona Coast will be regulated. It's specific. But there's another 3rd site now also being built over the last few years. The folks that are being maybe squeezed out of the other locations, they might all run to the 3rd location. And so my testimony will include, please regulate the industry, include every site that is possible to view mantas. It's just special on this coastline that the manta rays are classical conditioned to understand, hey, there's light, let's go there. Although you might ask, can you do it everywhere? No, you cannot do it everywhere. There has to be repetition and length of time that the animal actually knows to go there. Let's regulate the industry. Let's not regulate locations. So if you are really inclined to help us and help the manta rays, add that little piece of information, regulate the industry, don't regulate locations only. Go forward with everything that's in the draft rules. I'm really for that. Yes, it will have some pain for some businesses, but well, you knew it's coming. That's my position on this, and it's coming for a long way. We had to lose Teresa over this whole ordeal. Teresa, that crew member that died last year, and I'm really, really sorry for everybody that was exposed to that. The family, I talked to her daughter a few times, so I'm really sorry that it all came to this. I really hope that you help the manta rays. Look into the resources and all this underneath the video. Submit testimony. It's just an email. You can just say, yes, go for the regulations. I'm for it. I've done the activity, or I've not done the activity, but I want sustainable ecotourism around the manta ray activity on the Kona Coast in Hawaii. And let that be a blueprint for other places in Hawaii or in other places in the world. Let's come together and do something for the animals. We all have to be the voice for the voiceless. I truly want to be that person, and I hope you can do the same for them. So thanks. Talk to you later. Aloha.